Alright. You come to a manor-looking building in the sickening, typical Chilaxian style of having a lovely veneer that truly looks beautiful, but on the inside is corruption and evil and all of those sorts of things. And backstabbing.
Very much like the
Lots of
Chilaxians
backstabbing.
themselves. Soren's a little racist.
He chuckles to himself and says, "Come on, let's go in."
Everything's in red and black, as you would expect. And you enter, and you are greeted by somebody right at the door who is a well-dressed halfling looking to take you in.
Okay.
Okay.
She does. And you're greeted by a desk shaped like a crescent moon forward in your direction. And the person behind that place is a man dressed completely in red. But that's Chilaxian fashion.
Yeah.
Very well.
It's a red suit.
I approach the man in red and I say, "Yes, we're looking into the slaves today."
Don't say that word. Call them servants.
"Very well, we're looking into your servants today."
That's better. Come this way.
Alright, I follow.
Are you familiar with our business? Have you heard of our reputation from others?
I'm afraid I have not. I don't often visit this area of town.
Alright, I will inform you right now that we don't use our servants for heavy labor. That's from
Okay, well,
Misery
then what do
Row
you
and
use
all
them
of the other, well, low-born slaves. And the pits they belong to.
Oh. Gotcha.
Well, have you been having any problems with your servants lately?
Of course not.
Well, have you heard of what's been happening on Misery Row?
Of course I have. Terrible.
Indeed.
And you're not concerned for your own business?
Frankly not.
And why is that?
Our servants can fend for themselves. Many of them are skilled in guarding you if you so wish.
Interesting.
And they are skilled in all manners of domestic service.
Very well. Well, I believe that you may be right. We may have come to the wrong place. Soren, perhaps we should look back at Misery Row. Those might be more what we're looking for.
Yeah, perhaps you're right.
I suppose it is true that you get what you afford.
Indeed it is.
I'll just walk out.
I'm a follow him.
And I say, wow, that guy was something else.
No, he was just Chilaxian.
I can see why you despise them.
Yep. Not a pleasant bunch, really.
Well, I don't find that we'll find something very useful there, other than various other forms of corruption that we're not supposed to investigate right now. Let's merely focus on Misery Row.
Yeah, it seems to be localized there. At least that's something.
And we found out that they haven't been having the same kinds of problems, so...
Well, that's good. I wouldn't wish that death on anyone.
Yes, he doesn't seem to be the kind of guy that would know much about what's going on anyways.
Yeah.
Behind his desk and all. We need somebody who's
bureaucrat.
we need someone who's been in the pits themselves and seen what's happened.
Yeah. Of course, the slaves either don't know anything or don't want to talk, and the guards, of course, haven't seen anything.
It's true.
Which begs the question of why have
or the
guards?
slaves are dead.
Or that, yeah.
Well, I don't know. I suppose we should just meander around Misery Row until the appointed time to go back to the costume party.
There is always a chance to get lucky.
It's true. Well, if you invested enough time into something.
Yeah, certainly, certainly.
Are you guys waiting in the slave pits for the costume party, or are you staying in the slave pits for a little bit before we go to the costume party?
I'm sorry, what was the difference? What was the question?
Are we fast forwarding to the costume party, or are we investigating the slave pits before we're going to the costume party?
I don't have much else to investigate there, I think. Unless you do, Soren.
No, I think they're just basically pits.
Okay. Then you wait a while for the costume party. They just said to come after dark, so...
Okay.
Okay.
Well, then we wait until dark and we head on that way.
Alright. You take the trip north to the Ascendant Court, and not as many people are out tonight, but still many people, because I suppose fate never sleeps or something like that.
Okay.
For some gods more than others.
Interesting.
You go to the costume party.
Okay. I say to Soren as we go towards the place, I'm like, well, they worship a god of secrets and murder. I don't imagine they'll be entirely hospitable, although I could be wrong. We were extremely blunt in our asking.
Right. Well, I've always felt fairly comfortable in dens of thieves, so I think I'll be alright.
Yes, well, just be prepared. Things could go wrong quite quickly.
Always.
You were told to go in the back door.
Yep.
And you were given the key earlier. You walk around the back and you don't see a door back there. At least not initially.
Perception check. 12.
You do see...
I got a 2, so...
Jeez.
We're not very perceptive this evening.
You do see... You kind of figure out where it would be from where you were before. And you see that there's a huge banner for their store. And you can see a glint of metal behind it from like a side view.
Alright.
And there is... You can lift up the banner and then unlock a lock. And then the door does open.
Awesome.
And there's not a particular view in this alley to any other stores, which is probably why they put it here, of course. And you enter into the same room that you were in before, which had a table for alchemy and things like that. But now that table is not here. Everything else, well, most of the other things are still here except for that table. And there is the door right in front of you.
Okay.
To go into the rest of the store.
So is anyone else around, or?
They're not in this room. You hear... Make a perception check again.
Okay, this time I got a 7.
Awesome. I got a 20 this time. Not a natural 20, just like an 18 plus 2.
Leaf, for you, this place is silent. You can only hear the flapping of the flames in the candle sconces in this room. Brian, you can hear the faint scuffle of feet in the other room.
I hear feet in there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I tell Leaf I hear people in the other room.
Okay. I'm like, well, she told us to be here, right?
Yeah?
You think we should go over there?
I say wait for them to come to us.
Okay. We'll just wait about 10 minutes then, I suppose.
Alright.
You see somebody phase through the door.
Cool.
And turn back and then phase back through the door. And then you see somebody open the door that you haven't seen before. And they are dressed in the costume of a princess.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. With a silver tiara with sapphires in it, probably fake sapphires.
Okay.
And sort of a costume dress made to look very noble, and kind of covered with glitter.
Okay.
To sort of mimic the diamonds that nobles high nobles might have in their dresses.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one thing I didn't think of.
And this person opens the door and asks you to come in by just
Okay.
sort of motioning
We do.
you in.
Yeah, works for me.
There doesn't seem to be a ton of speech in this group. You do
Works
see
for me.
Yeah.
You see that the costumes have been put away, and the alchemy table is in the center, kind of covered, and it has like a black obsidian like sheet put on it right now. Like just like a sheet of volcanic glass right above it. Extremely reflective, reflects all of the candle light in the room.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
You see some elegant costumes in here, some rather silly. Like you see somebody dressed as a unicorn. You see somebody else dressed as an anthropomorphic rat with a crown on his head.
The king rat.
You see one person dressed up as a witch.
Okay.
More like a hag sort of witch.
All right.
So green-faced, very pustuled, and has like a slightly darkish appearance to it with purple eyes.
Am I sure it's a costume?
Make a perception check.
12.
Looks like a costume,
Okay.
and a pretty good one.
All right.
And you see somebody else dressed up as some sort of fiendish figure, almost like something not quite like you, Soren, but something devilish or demonic or something like that.
Okay.
And it's a very tall costume. There's a very tall person occupying this costume.
All right.
And you see 3 people wrapped together with rope. And that's kind of the group we have here.
Okay.
All right. Interesting bunch.
Extremely
Alright.
varied.
Yeah.